What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Race. Is the 365 Days franchise over? This is a genuine question because, to be honest, it didn't feel like an end to me. We never saw a definite ending for Nacho, Laura, and Massimo, so naturally, fans expect them to return in Netflix's potential sequel, 365 Days 4. But what if the next film stays completely loyal to the source material? What if Massimo kills Laura's dog? Here is why 365 Days 4 is expected to go down a different path. Enjoy the video and the spoilers. Let's start off with a very simple question. Is 365 Days 4 happening? Well, the answer to this question is a bit complicated because Netflix is still considering the idea of making yet another continuation that will hopefully wrap up the story in a more satisfying way. No, I don't think Netflix did a good job with the third installment because fans were confused by what seemed to be a happily ever after for Laura and Massimo. But knowing Laura and her history, she might not stay with Massimo. Even though the entire franchise faced a lot of negative reviews, it was still one of the most popular and watched projects on Netflix, which is why by all means enough for a franchise to be given yet another follow-up. The story of Laura and Massimo started back in 2019, with the first installment following the story of the mafia boss, Massimo, as he decides to kidnap the woman of his dreams and hold her hostage until she falls in love with him. But have you seen Massimo? Laura needed a few days to fall in love with him, and his mission was successful. And then boom, Nacho and Massimo's evil twin happened. As you clearly remember, Massimo's twin brother was this evil person who wanted to end both Laura and her loved one. As for Nacho, well, he is a rival mafia boss and Laura's love interest who was first introduced to us as a gardener, but 365 Days 3 didn't end on a cliffhanger. The next 365 days followed one and only one storyline. Laura constantly struggles to decide whether she wants to be with Massimo or Nacho. The weirdest thing is that the creators stayed as far from the source material as possible. Why? Keep watching to find out. Okay, seriously, in the end, Laura appears to choose Massimo, but not everyone thinks she chose him. In fact, some fans are convinced she chose no one because she was in love with both of them. And even if she chose Massimo, their relationship and their happiness are not built to last. Also, I don't think Nacho would give easily up on his dreams to be with Laura. So yeah, we need a fourth installment in order to see a proper ending. This intense love triangle needs to be solved. A lot of you don't know that the third installment is very different from the book. Yes, in fact, it looks like the creators decided to completely ignore the source material. And maybe they did the right decision because the source material from the third book is, how should I put this? Super crazy and dark. Anyway, there's one storyline that stayed the same, both in the book and in the screen adaptation. Laura struggling to decide between Nacho and Massimo. For those not familiar, the trilogy is based on the book series by Blanka Lipińska. But yes, Netflix made sure to announce the third film by saying it is loosely based on the book. 365 Days this day made a lot of changes. And by a lot, I mean it went in a completely different direction by not changing Massimo, not making Laura an addict, and not giving more character development to our beloved gardener. If you haven't read the book, spoilers ahead. Per a report by Netflix, you need to smash that like button if you want another 365 Days continuation. Okay, seriously, let's see if the creators can now use the untouched source material for yet another screen adaptation, shall we? I feel the need to mention that this source material is beyond dark, so where should I start? Maybe from the fact that Massimo is turned into this big idiot in the book. The book and the film start kind of similarly, with Laura having survived the accident. However, there's one big difference in this storyline. You see, in the book, Laura was pregnant when she was shot, but in the movies, she was pregnant when she got in a car accident at the end of the first movie. The outcome of these two storylines is the same. Laura is now emotionally broken, as expected, as she deals with a lot of things. First, the baby loss, then her unfaithful husband. Because of what happened to her, Laura becomes an alcoholic and Massimo turns into a drug and sex addict. The relationship between these two is pretty much awful in the books. Another storyline that wasn't featured in the screen adaptation is the one with Nacho giving Laura a heart for a transplant. So at one point in the book, Laura decides to go and live with Nacho while Massimo cheats on her every freaking day. While with Nacho, she receives a package with her dead dog. Massimo is the one behind this horrible act. Have we mentioned that he bought her the dog? Yeah, she named it Prada. Anyway, at Olga's wedding, Laura sees Massimo chatting with another woman. She goes up to him and starts a conversation. He manages to convince her that Nacho was the one who sent her the package with her dead dog. Liar! Our beautiful but sometimes naive Laura believes him and goes back to him in his mansion where, believe it or not, she is held hostage again. Massimo does other horrific things to Laura until she threatens to kill herself. She then manages to escape and goes to, yes, you guessed it, Nacho. The two get married and Laura gives birth to a baby girl. Yes, the baby's father is Nacho. Massimo gave up on his dream of being with Laura and leaves her and her new husband alone to enjoy their happiness. Since the author of the book hasn't written another book, the creators could easily use some of the mentioned storylines for the next screen adaptation. I know it will be much darker than the previous films, but what do you guys think? Should they use this source material, or should they come up with a better, more suitable story for a conclusion? Let us know before we dive into more surprising plot details. A lot of fans who have read the books were angry because of how the third book was written. They were particularly angry by what the author did with Massimo, and maybe the creators made a smart decision not to follow the source material. The best option here would be another book, a totally different book written by the same author and a screen adaptation of it. The next 365 days is much less intense compared to the book, and as the ending implies, Laura chooses to stay with Massimo. There are certainly many directions 365 Days 4 could go. What do you guys think is the best one? Also, is anyone on board for 365 Days 4? Well, it looks like everyone who worked on the previous films is interested to work on yet another continuation. But again, it all depends on Netflix. If the streaming giant gives the green light, we are good to go. Nacho actor Simone Cecina is currently busy filming Heaven and Hell, but we believe he'll be interested to return and reprise his role because, let's face it, the role of Nacho made him famous. Laura's actress Anna Marie Sieklucka is expected to return for a potential sequel as well, alongside Michele Morrone, who plays Massimo. He's also busy at the moment, but not with acting. He is focusing on his music career. If Netflix decides to do another 365 Days film using a brand new story, they could easily include some new additions. As for a potential release date, the final two movies in the franchise were shot back-to-back and released close together as a result. We also know that you need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. Since 365 Days 4 is not confirmed yet, we might have to wait a little longer to see. If they start filming in 2023, we'll see the follow-up sometime in 2024 at the earliest. See you in the next video.